Hello, everyone, and welcome to Red Alert Diaries with Tanya E. Hood. I am Tanya E. Hood, a wife, a mother, and an entrepreneur. As an entrepreneur, it simply means that I've worn a lot of different hats in my life that have helped me develop a full range of strategies and actionable steps I've used to help my clients make a strategic impact, both personally and professionally, to have better than what life has been giving them. Red Alert Diaries is based on the life lessons from my premier book, Red Alert. Is He the One? The pocket guide defining the love of your life. And if you read my book, you already know that I got married at 21. And after 11 years of marriage, I found myself going through a divorce, having to raise my two sons alone. To reset my life and survive my divorce, I took the time I needed to get to know me better, which opened me up to a new love again. And so now I am remarried to the love of my life and my best friend, which proves there is life after divorce. So on this podcast, we have conversations about life lessons, and I encourage you to join me on the journey. You can call 240-532-2227. That's 240-532-2227. Today on Red Alert Diaries, we have a special guest joining us, Miss Anjie Hosley, aka Anjie, joining us today. She is also a co-author and our latest #1 Amazon bestseller in 8 categories and internationally. Our book is titled Your Voice Matters. This book is a collaboration of love, of healing, and expression to let the voices of those that have been marginalized be heard. Because in the United States, the death of George Floyd exposed a trauma that a lot of Black people have been experiencing for years. And I'm grateful that there were so many people that wanted to be sure it was known that the hurt and the pain was not just an isolated incident. So let's welcome Anjie Hosley. Hey, Anjie, how are you today?
Hello there, Tanya. How are you?
Doing well. So before we begin, everyone, I have got to tell you more about this phenomenal woman. Anjie is a refreshing voice in the New Thought movement. She honors the legacy of Reverend Dr. Johnny Coleman, founder of Christ Universal Temple and the Universal Foundation for Better Living. She is also the CEO of Rightfully So. She's an inspirational speaker, a divine revealer, a teacher, and a lifelong learner. This spiritual writer is originally from Chicago, now living in New Orleans. She's known as the life coach around joy for living your best life and is often called the spiritual doula. Anjie, knowing your heart to serve, I understand why you felt inclined to share your experience. Do you want to give us a snippet of what that looked like so that people, when they get the book, can get your perspective of why you felt the importance of sharing this with the world?
Absolutely. First of all, thank you for letting me guest spot, be a guest on your show. I'm so grateful. I'm really grateful for the book too. Like you said, the death of George Floyd really sparked something. And I think because we were in the middle of a pandemic, it made us all stop because we were already on pause. So the stopping of the world and then this incident made us all pay attention in an intentional way, if that makes any kind of sense. And my piece is called Exceptional because a lot of times I move throughout the world as a Black woman in multiple circles, and I'm always the exception. I'm not the exception, I'm really the rule. I know more Black women like me than I do the stereotypical image that they like to portray of us. So the piece was really about honoring how exceptional we really are as Black women, as Black men, and it was really dedicated to allowing people to see that there is no exception. We're all exceptional. And so the piece is about, I'm not the exception, I'm the rule, even though I am exceptional. And so I was really honored and grateful to be able to voice that. And it just came out of nowhere. I shouldn't say it came out of nowhere. It was divinely inspired, of course.
Oh, I know that, because here's
Yeah,
the
so
beautiful thing that you just
thank you.
shared.
Thank you.
The exceptional element of who we are as beings. People
Yes.
don't often get enough excitement and joy in knowing that insight. So I thank you for writing the poem, because that also mixes up a little bit, because our expressions, oftentimes people think when you have a book, it's just got to be written out. And a lot of people in the book have just written their stories out like I did, but you put it in a poem, which pulls from a different space and element. And I thank you for that.
Thank
So
you.
let me
Thank you
ask you
so much.
this. When you were thinking about wittiness, what impact did you really want your poem to make, and that you thought this book would make as well?
So I am the youngest of 8, and I have 31 nephews and nieces. I don't have any biological children, so those are my babies. And we have a lot of Black men in our family. And I wanted them to, I always want the younger generations to know um, how remarkable they are. Not just because of who they are, because they're amazing, beautiful, bright beings of light, but I wanted them to really understand their purpose and their destiny in the world. Like, our life does not automatically just belong to us. We are all interconnected and interweaved in a way that I want them to get. So the piece was really for them to be able to see themselves, for them to be able to say, yeah, I remember TT Anjie, who I'm affectionately always known as, telling me that I am exceptional, that what I'm doing in my life is exceptional because, one, God put that light there for me, as me, and two, because I have someone who believes in me and will support me irregardless to what is actually happening. And I have a structure that's going to help support my dreams and my goals and my life. And so I wanted them to really understand and know and be able to put into some type of wording that they are truly exceptional. We all are, when we own that part of ourselves.
That is so true. And that leads me to asking this next question, because hearing your passion about family, hearing how you wanted to make certain that the next generation gets some insight about who they are, what inspires you?
Oh, lots of things. So one, I really believe that we are all sent here with a divine purpose. And I think a lot of times we miss it. We miss it for a lot of reasons. One, I think is stolen from us, for lack of a better term. Like,
That's a
people,
statement right there.
yeah, like it's stolen. People put their expectations, put their whatever on us, and it's like, wait, I didn't even get a chance to know myself, get to be me in this space, and have the space and grace to do that. So it inspires me to help people find that part of themselves. And especially as adults, we're told, stop dreaming, start adulting, do this, do that. And you're like, I don't want to do
I
that.
don't like adulting either.
I don't like adulting. That was the worst decision of my life. I want to be grown. Stupid.
I know.
You don't know any better, right? So when you don't know any better, you make these crazy statements like, I want to be grown. I don't want to be grown. I want to be a kid forever, you know? And so, like, getting people to find that childlike wonder, that divine curiosity that we all have, and it never goes away. It really ignites my soul.
I hear that part. So your passion that's coming out, that you really want people to get some insight about, is knowing their life's mission. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So we all come here pre-wired, knowing exactly what we have come to do, our assignment, our anointing, so to speak. And then we lose it along the way. And so what I do is I try to get people to get back to that place where their joy is alive. Because we think of joy as something that you get. It's something that you get, but it's something that you have already inside of yourself that kind of is just dormant. And if we live, move, and have our being from that place of joy, oh man, like, life becomes a wonder. Life becomes a magical in a sense. And even though you go through things, once you make joy your baseline, Make love your baseline. Make peace your baseline. You always get back to that. It becomes your center. So even if things are going absolutely bonkers in your life, you still have that sense of joy and you can handle anything. I think a lot of times the reason why we break down and do things like self-medicate is because we are missing our joy and we're trying to find it in things that have nothing to do with our joy because it's all internal. So your life mission is to live from that joy. No matter what your profession is, you should have joy every single day of your life.
So being the life coach of joy, what would you tell your clients to do to find that? Because that's not an easy find. There's a lot of people that spend their entire lives trying to discover it only to fail in the end. What are you doing as a life coach? Because you're the life coach of joy. How? What do you say?
So the first thing that you do is you find all the little things that make you smile. We all have those little tiny things that we just take for granted. You know, like I was in the store the other day and this little kid came running up to me and I was like, oh, that's because I got all this TT energy. I know what it was. The mother was terrified, like, oh my God, don't touch that lady. And I was just like, hey, little kid, what's happening? And that brought me so much joy because the kid was happy. I was happy. The mom was terrified. But I was like, in those little moments. So I realized very early on that people bring me joy. Being around people, talking to people, getting to know them brings me joy. And once you start discovering like the little tiny things, it just keeps piling on. So I would have my clients first ask themselves, what are the little tiny things that delight my heart that I might be missing? If you ask that question, life will show you all the little spaces, but you have to pay attention. And if you're not attuned and aware of what's happening, you'll be like, oh, that was nothing. But inside, like your soul is jumping like, oh my God, that was very joyful, you know, so.
So let's talk about that part, because with what we were writing in the book, Your Voice Matters was a discussion that brought out a lot of raw feelings for people. And it truly let us know that as a community of Black people, we are still traumatized. So how do you go past all that noise to get to that still small space to find the joy when it's been so dark and so bleak? And then on top of everything that has happened with the pandemic, that trauma doesn't easily go away and it's hard to press through. What do you say? How do you walk people through that?
Yeah, of course. So I always tell people to give themselves the dignity of the process, because healing, finding joy, rediscovering who you are and who you're meant to be and who you're becoming is a process. Don't give up so easily. I practice this with myself because there are times that I get frustrated with what's going on in the world and I see it. And being a spiritual person does not negate me from feeling it. A lot of times people are like, well, you don't feel it because you're praying. Yeah, I still feel it. So give yourself the dignity of the process. Trust the process and allow yourself to move gently through it. I'm a big fan of space and grace. I tell people all the time, give yourself some space and grace. Like treat yourself like you are a newborn learning to walk. I remember our newborn baby Cruz, he just turned 1 and he's learning to walk. And every step he took, we celebrated. We don't do that with ourselves. As adults, we'd be like, oh, that was stupid. I made a mistake. I fell down. Da, 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 da. And that's not what it's about. It's about celebrating all those little nuances of life.
That is so true. I was just having a conversation with someone that says, does anybody need somebody to just say, you do good, you're doing great, go, 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 I see you. We don't do the celebrating moments. What I have had to learn, and a lot of people have had to go through, is try to figure out how, and they often don't. I'm really grateful because when I went through, I'm in my second marriage. And in this second marriage, I have discovered something new and different about me. And I discovered that my current husband speaks my love language because it's his. We have a synonymous love language with one another. So when
That's
trauma
beautiful.
hits us, we are almost in the exact same space and we are natural encouragers. So when he's looking at me, he wants to be, you know how special you are today? You know what you did? Those types of things. But if someone doesn't have that, because I know also how to fuel and inspire myself, because in my first marriage, we just didn't speak that way. I don't think it was because we didn't love each other. We just did not know how, because I got married at 21. You heard earlier. For those of you that listen to this podcast often enough, you already know I got married at 21. And at 21, you're still trying to discover yourself, still trying to figure things out. So I had to learn quickly to give myself some encouragement. Is there something that you tell your clients to do if they don't have someone that can give them that joy, that can do the raw, to do the small steps celebration?
Absolutely. Affirmations. I'm a big fan of affirmations. Post them everywhere, leave them everywhere. Get yourself a notebook. I often tell people to find themselves one notebook that they really love. I'm a writer. I love paper. I love pens. And actually write down your affirmations every day. Just write them down. And then it becomes so intrinsic that you just naturally do it. During the pandemic, I was fortunate enough to have a pre-K student come over on Mondays and Tuesdays, my little niece Naima, and we started doing affirmations. A year later, she still does them. And I'm just like, that is amazing. But think about what that does for her 10 years from now or 20 years from now. Like, you start molding yourself and treat yourself gently. Like, okay, so you didn't do your affirmations that day. Do them at night. Like, people get so stuck into the rigmarole of life that they forget you have 24 hours. Like, just go ahead, pick another hour. So you didn't do it when you woke up. Do it late.
Exactly.
You know?
I call it the reset. I have had some clients call me the reset strategist because one of the things that I've done so much is reset. I had to reset my life after 21. I had to reset my life after divorce. I had to reset my life after the financial breakdown. That reset, when you learn early how to do it, oh, that is empowering. And our conversation today is about the belief element. Having a
Yes.
basic belief in a being greater than yourself will give you
Yeah.
insight on how to reset. So you have already talked about a little bit of grace. You have special projects that are coming up about your reset and graceful moments and joy moments. Could you share with us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So, for your listeners today, I am offering a 30-minute consultation with me about how to get back to center, how to, like you said, reset and learn how to do it quickly. See, here's the thing that I always say and share. Having a relationship with God or a higher being or the universe or whatever the name you choose to call it, somebody bigger than us, is that life still happens. Tragedies still happen. Loved ones still leave. It is getting back to center quicker than not, because sometimes you get stuck in a loop and then you're in that loop for 2-3 months, right? But having this relationship, cultivating that grace, cultivating a relationship with yourself, maybe it takes you 2 weeks instead of 2 months. Like, it does not negate life happening. I want people to understand that. Like, people are always like, your life is perfect. No, it's not. It really isn't. Nobody's life is perfect. It's how you handle the pressure of life, if that makes any sense. So 30 minutes, we get to unpack a problem, an issue where you're stuck, and I give you strategies to help you move beyond that.
That is awesome because the strategies and actionable steps are the things that I share the most with my clients. And on this podcast, the desire is to give life lessons that people can apply because we have some hard discussions and I got to get you through those discussions. So today, Anjie, thank you. This has been such great insight about what you're doing, about the collaboration that we have together. Is there any last thought that you want to leave the audience today?
Yes. So, what I will tell and share with the audience today is that no matter where you are in life, no matter what you have done or perceived to be bad or terrible, no matter where this road has taken you, you can always have joy. You can always have the life that you've always imagined. You can always have purpose. You can always be your best version of yourself. Now, how you get there is the process, is the road, is where you discover your joy and who you are and who you're becoming. But at the end of that is another version of yourself, a bigger version of yourself. You get to play bigger in life. You are the star of your life. Please don't make someone else a leading cast member. You are the star. You have to live this life. You should live it to the best and greatest possibility that there is. And the possibilities are unlimited. So I encourage you to discover your joy, rediscover your joy, give yourself space and grace, and allow the process to be the process and give yourself the dignity of it. That's what I would tell them.
That is so phenomenal. Thank you, Anjie, so much for being here today. And thank you for being a living, breathing testament of God's grace being sufficient in all things. So,
Thank
everyone,
you.
I want you to reach out to Anjie. Take the time to get to be present with what she's doing. And for today, if you don't remember anything else that has been shared, remember and know that you are in the driver's seat of your life. Like she said, don't let somebody else be the starring cast in your life's journey. In the meantime, if you are on Clubhouse, you can join us every Tuesday in the Winning and Wealth Club. We have started a life lesson session. Red Alert Diaries will be discussed there at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I invite you to join us so that we can finish this conversation. And with that, this is Tanya E. Hood, walking in my purpose, and I want you to do the same.